Welcome back to the Reality Receipts podcast, starring me, Storytime with Ricky.
And me, Reality Ashley. And Ricky just got a frantic voice note from me because we were about to start, and AD and Olly just posted a pregnancy announcement,
Yes,
which is
they did.
wild. I mean, I feel like every time we turn around, there's news coming from them, and I did not expect this. What do you think about it? Yeah.
I mean, obviously, congrats. Babies are a blessing. I think it's convenient timing because I think this just hasn't been a good week for AD. Like, she was facing a lot of backlash because of her interview with Ashley. People felt like, they didn't really get the proper answers, that, she didn't hold her accountable, which I agree with. So she was actually getting some heat, some serious. I don't think I've seen a positive comment. So I think this is the perfect way to turn it around and put the focus back on something positive. Because babies are a blessing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean, I posted it, so I've had a few people comment or message like, oh, this is why they got engaged. And obviously she didn't announce how far along she is. We don't really know if that was the reason, but it would seem like around the same timing. But I mean, we don't know. We're not in their life, so we don't know what their plan was.
I'm no doctor, but this sonogram, I see a head and I see some toes, so I don't know. I would assume maybe at least a few months,
Yeah, that's a full-grown baby-looking baby in there. Yeah. So, yeah. So obviously, top of the thoughts is excitement. Congratulations. If it wasn't this week, that's all we would be thinking. But it's already been such a big week for AD, so. If it were me, I don't know that I would want my pregnancy announcement mixed up in all of that, but we know these PR people are so smart at moving the story along and burying things. So
it's the perfect way to bury it, because now it's like, leave her alone, she's pregnant. Like,
I know, and I do feel for her that she's had to deal with this week pregnant, but I also know she's been on the show, she's smart, she watched Tyler and Ashley as much as any of us did, and I mean, especially being pregnant, how do you not feel a type of way about someone abandoning their kids, right? So I can't imagine that she is feeling so good about what Ashley and Tyler did. So we don't know if she was like because we've said this is a kinetic podcast, so she might have been pressured to put a certain angle on. We would have loved to see her definitely go a little harder on Ashley, but it is what it is. It's too late now. So
it's too late now. It's over with. She hasn't made any public comments about the podcast, has she? I know Ashley did make some follow-up comments.
Yeah. I saw AD replied to someone just because a lot of people were pressing her on, not because she stated in the interview, I don't really know what happened with Bry's videos. She did mention a few times it was a 5-part video, so you would think she did know a little bit about it, but she said she didn't know what Bry had said, which a lot of people were kind of horrified by. Like, how do you do this interview and not know the main story of the interview?
Yeah.
The angle of the interview was Ashley's redemption, so I guess she felt like that wasn't relevant, but yeah, I think it would have helped a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely all relative, and it's definitely relative to know the full scope of what happened, and taking digs at the length of Bry's video or the accuracy of Bry's video was unnecessary. And in my opinion, if we're, a lot of the things that Ashley was saying was just not cohesive to what she was saying publicly. I think a lot of people forget that on the reunion, she came out and literally said, like, it's insulting that you guys think that I was blindsided or that I'm some type of victim. And I'm like, oh, okay. We all thought she was a victim. We're like, oh my God, she's a victim of his lies. Oh my God, like, poor girl, and she came out, chest poked out, like, it's an insult to my intelligence for you to think that I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? So I think that a big part of her redemption would have been addressing that, because you can't say in one breath you didn't know, and then in the next breath, but you told us all you had done your research at that point. So
and we made that point last time when we talked about the interview. Like, she's trying to, in one breath, say, I'm Tyler's victim, he lied to me, but in the next breath come for you and Jesse and everyone on the internet that tried to help her see those lies. So she can't, if she's really is a victim of Tyler, her only thoughts towards everybody trying to tell her that should be gratitude. So that part doesn't add up for everyone. She's focusing on the wrong thing.
She is. And I think that AD was like, oop, I up. Like, how do I turn this around? And her PR people were like, hey, this is probably not how they planned on announcing it. But hey, here we are. Like, we got to announce it now to turn this around, which I think is
It would have been way better if they waited for like perfect match, like premiere party or finale or something to announce it. Like that would have been cute.
Was their plan.
Yeah. And I know, like, well, but I guess with her doing the podcast, it would be hard to hide, right? So maybe, I don't know what the original plan was.
I don't know, because it's like, here up, you don't really have to show the belly if you don't want to.
Yeah, that's true. I saw a video of someone, I missed this part somehow on Ashley's interview, but I saw a video of people calling out, did she say she like cornered Tyler's niece or nephew or something?
Yeah, she did. Okay, she was like, yeah, she's like, I've asked everyone in his family. She was like, I even tried to get his little niece alone and like ask about, you know, her cousins or whatever, something along those lines of like, and it's like, you could have just messaged the
read
mom.
The internet, yeah,
or messaged the mother of the kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you never did that. You never did that. So
yeah,
you don't gotta corner his niece.
No, it's so hard because she like easily could have gone on that podcast and said, I just loved him so much I didn't want to believe it, and thank you guys for trying to help me, and just leave it at that. So crazy. But speaking of PR, everyone knows if you have some bad news and you don't want it talked about, you release it on the Friday of a long weekend, which we are smack in the middle of a long weekend.
Okay.
Friday at 5:00, news breaks. Colleen and Matt are getting a divorce. So shocking to nobody, but
literally
like hallelujah that finally one of them has said it. Because obviously since they got married, I'm not kidding you, every week I get a DM, are these two broken up? She's not posting him. She's not wearing her ring. Clues they're always there, but you can't say, you can only say, yeah, I think they're broken up, or I've heard they're broken up, or I've heard they're separated.
Right.
But you can't say it for 100% fact until one of these two comes out and says it. So finally they did that. So
or if or if somebody magically seen Colleen with somebody else or Matt with somebody else, like spotted out.
Yeah.
Then you can kind of make that assumption. I know that there were rumors swirling. There was like this AI article that was written saying that they were broken up, and a lot of people I seen on TikTok ran with the story, but we both kind of didn't, because we were like, well, this isn't really a credible source, so we don't ever want to spread anything that's false. I actually had messaged Colleen to ask, and she obviously didn't write back, and then the announcement came like very shortly after. I'm shocked that they lasted this long. I think it took them 2 years to move in together. Like being married and not living together is already strange, you know?
Yeah, and like when they were on the show, I was vocal like everyone that this was not a good match. We did not like Matt. Thought he was terrible. We definitely just kept waiting for that breakup announcement. Then they moved in together. So that's when I started personally giving them a chance of like, okay, they wouldn't move in together after 2 years. Like, I don't know if you remember the After the Altar, but it was bad. Like on the show, he seemed like very rageful and like not so good to her.
Yeah.
Rageful. I don't know if that's the word.
You're so funny.
I was going to say abusive, but I'm like, we didn't know that. He came off as,
he just seemed
like
very
you said,
angry.
red.
Yeah, red. Very red. Like, very just angry for no reason. Like, and then, wasn't there a scene where he, like, got mad at her for going out, and then she was like, I invited you, and then he just kind of like laughed it off, like, oh, you did? I forgot because I was drunk. Like, you know what I mean? I remember that. Like, he was very possessive and very angry. Yeah, he came off.
Totally. But then, so the After the Altar, then they seemed to bicker. It was like a mutual bickering, negative. They didn't like each other. So I was like, okay, I didn't feel so worried about her after I saw that. I'm like, she can kind of hold her own with him, but they still don't look like they should be married.
Right.
Then they moved in together. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to start giving them a chance. We're obviously just not seeing whatever's great about this relationship. And then they went to that reunion, and I mean, he seemed very drunk at the reunion. I don't know if you remember his like reactions, but he seemed drunk, but they seemed happy, like they're having a good time. So I started finally being like, okay, this is like a real thing. And then I think September of last year, they posted at a wedding together. So that was the last like happy post, September. So Then Christmas, everybody's like, they're broken up. She's posting in a different house, but she had an M stocking. So
Yeah.
that was the only clue we had that was like, they seem fine. Why would she have a stocking up of his if they're not
Yeah.
fine?
And then
But since,
the divorce announcement said that they've been separated for a while.
yeah, so it
Yeah.
must have been, I don't know if it's been after Christmas and the stocking was, maybe the stocking was just there to get people off of the trail,
Right.
or if it was since January. I don't
Yeah.
know. But did talk to an inside source. So we talked to a friend. The source wants to stay anonymous, which I know is annoying, but
Yeah.
you know, it's obviously hearsay, so I will call it unverified tea because we don't have receipts per se. But this person said basically Matt is as bad as we thought on the show. He is a bad person. He's had a falling out with friends. The marriage was horrible. There was fighting. There was infidelity on both sides. It just wasn't a good marriage. So I was hoping we were wrong, and like sometimes what you see on TV is not the reality, but
Right.
people close to the situation, I know we hate that term, but close to the situation say it was as bad as we thought it was, which is sad.
Yeah.
So good
Yeah.
that it's over now, I
Good that
guess.
it's over. Yeah. Yeah. Surprised it lasts this long. I don't know if they did that for optics or for Netflix or for Kinetic or because they were asked to. I do personally know firsthand that production does influence or encourage couples to get married.
I think
even
we've
if
heard
they
they've even paid once, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still not convinced that Milton and Lydia are legitimately married. I 1000% think that they were paid to get married. I 1000% think that they are not together. They are the next to announce their divorce because there's no
Yeah.
way that that's a real relationship. I've heard so many times that Milton was seen out, another, right? Like living separate, not living together. Like he's
Yeah.
seen out partying, clubbing, like not wearing his ring, but this isn't about them since allegedly they're still married. But I have heard that production does like, even as
Yeah.
far as to say, no, marry this person. Like, no, these are real marriages. These are real, like, weddings. Like, you actually have to get a divorce. Like, you know what I mean? So they actually do encourage. And if you don't, they get upset and try and give you the worst possible edit that they can give you.
Yeah, and like when this person said like there was infidelity on both sides, I was like, well, if they're having these separations and they're not really together, I don't know if you would call that infidelity, but they seem pretty certain that it was like infidel. Like it was not okay. It wasn't an open marriage or a separation at that point. So I wish we had a little more tea and more receipts, but this person, I'll just say we have proof that were very close to the couple. So unless they're just lying for no reason, I don't really see that. You know, they publicly commented that the marriage should have been over a long time ago. So
Okay.
I think, why would you say that if it wasn't true? It doesn't make sense. So
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not a shock either.
Yeah, it's not a shock. I did actually message Matt and ask him if he wanted to comment on the fact that, you know, a source is saying that there was some infidelity, and he didn't respond. So it's like, okay, well, if there was some infidelity and you was hooking up with Matt or Colleen, you know, you could just email us at realityreceiptspod@gmail.com.
Yeah. I know, right? So Colleen has the same PR that Brittany and Jax have.
Okay.
Lori Kay, you know, she's part of all that drama. Like she slept with Jax apparently, which is all alleged. But yeah, she's a interesting. Like I said, I would love to interview her because I feel like she has a lot of stories. But she does Colleen's PR, and I've noticed in the last couple months, which is where I think this whole AI article came from. It did like there was always speculation, but in the last 2 to 3 months, it did start to feel that way. Like Colleen's doing events now. Her PR has ramped up. She's doing Us Weekly events and not with her ring on and not posting him. So it did start to feel like it. So I'm glad we have confirmation. Do you ever think like the AI is like reading private messages? Like that was what it was giving me, that article.
I don't know, but that's scary. I think
it is.
It's like AI I don't know what the limitations on it are. So it's like if you are a publication and you do have an exclusive and it's kind of sitting on your computer or whatever, like, can AI hack it? Or, you know what I mean? Is there a way for them to get the story first? Because what the
There
AI
is.
article was pretty accurate. Like at the end of the
Yeah.
day, like, you know?
There was no public comment from either of them, yet this article had very, I wouldn't call it real information, but it was almost as though an AI algorithm had gone through like their personal information and deduced this statement, which is
Yeah.
freaky. And that's
Yeah.
happened here in my town when there's been like a car accident with like a fatality, and an AI article has come up on our news thing with like names and stuff, but no one has publicly released it. But they find it somehow. So it's
That's
really
freaky.
freaky.
Oh
It
my God.
is.
We're living in like the days of iRobot. Like people thought that movie
It
was funny
is.
and they thought it was funny and like, oh, that would never happen. And it's like, actually it's kind of happening. Like they're like building robots like, that look
Totally.
like
And like
people. Like, oh no.
if you like, I've never used Chat BT, whatever it's called, but
I use it every day.
but don't you worry.
I
I
use
think
it every day.
you know what's so funny is that Ricky and I got roasted on our pod page in a freaking comment, and it was Chat. We are fairly certain it was Chat, whatever it's called, GPT,
GPT, yeah, no, for sure.
because it had
was.
the long dash. And I swear, because you are on Chat GPT or whatever, like it was just mad at you and it came and roasted us because
Yeah, it
like
roasted the out of us. And
Yeah. It was
when
long.
when Ashley sent me the roast, I said, "Oh my God, this same person just roasted me on my TikTok, like with a super long roast." And it was like very
Yeah.
repetitive.
personal.
But it was very personal. I was like, blocked.
And it came from an email address. It wasn't
Yeah.
a TikTok user. You couldn't look
Yeah.
up the user.
Yeah.
It's getting freaky out here, guys, because
It's
that's
getting
weird.
freaky. We're getting roasted by robots. Like shit's getting real. Yeah.
Literally. And now, like, yeah, if you're talking in your personal DMs about your divorce or whatever with your friends and you're a public figure, like AI is gonna make an article out of that. So
Oh my God, that's so scary. We had
it
another
is scary.
separation announcement
Yes.
from somebody from Love is Blind this week too. This has been a busy weekend.
It has been. I know. Like, I swear, Ashley went on a podcast and everyone else was like, hold my beer. I want to get in this
Yeah, I
because
want to get
it's
in on
like,
this because Love is Blind is trending right now, right?
yes, so true. But
Yeah.
I think people are confused about the Shane and Julie thing. They think it's not true because he wrote like a statement in his stories about it. Like, we've separated or broken up and I want privacy at this time. And then she put a laughing emoji. So to me, that seems more of like a fight.
Yeah, like, oh, right. Like you're making a statement. Like, oh, you're making a statement. Like, that's how
Yeah.
I would take it. Like,
Yeah.
this is
Like,
comical that you're making a statement about our breakup.
yes,
Yeah.
totally. And she did post another story that got deleted, which was like, God forbid I post some bikini videos. So she was on like a boat for Memorial Day, like in bikinis. He made a breakup statement. She posted another one. She deleted everything though. So I was like, maybe they'll work it out. But I did ask both of them, like, is this a real breakup or is it a joke? And they both said it's a real breakup. So
Well, it's giving to me that he got mad that she posted a bikini video,
Yeah.
and so he announced a breakup. And she's
Yeah.
laughing at it because it's like you're just got your panties in a
You're
wad
just
that
mad,
yeah,
yeah.
you're just mad. But it's like Shane definitely gives that, maybe he like the type of guy that maybe doesn't like his girl to be posting in a bikini or whatever,
Yeah.
know. For
I
those
know.
of you who don't know, tell the audience who Julia is.
Oh, okay. So Shane, obviously from Love is Blind season 2, and Julie is from The Trust. So that was the one that Tolu was on. She was also on Perfect Match. It was very similar to Million Dollar Secret, same idea. It was like a money, all different kinds of people, old, young, all walks of life.
Okay.
And yeah, she had a romance on there. So she was yeah, she's really likable. I can say when I posted their breakup messages on my story, I've never had so many replies. Right now I have like hundreds of people being like, what? So people are invested in them as a couple.
Really? I didn't even
Yeah.
post about it because I didn't think anyone cared.
Oh no, people
like I didn't know.
people love them, and so that's why I reached out to them, because I was kind of like, everyone, I've never seen such a outpouring of everybody being like, what? I think people are confused because the two stories were so different, and they were like,
Do you think Shane would want to come on the pod and talk about it? Because I feel
I
like
would love
Shane's
that.
your bud. I feel
Yeah.
like he's really. I feel like I've seen him comment before, like, "Oh, if you ever need a guest on the pod, like I'm down." Now that
I-
you know,
Shane
Yeah.
and I became friends when he was on Perfect Match. because I like to make videos, and these people on Love is Blind are not social media experts, and they don't get like given a person to help them. And so I help him with like making his clips and his videos, and we just talk that way. And when he was with Julie, like met Julie, I love her too. And so I was like, great, I love this couple. So I always like support them and post positive
That's
things
not,
about them because they haven't
yeah.
had anything negative to
Right.
say until now with the breakup. So now it's
Yeah.
like, I don't want
We
to.
could get more info and see what happened and if it was
Yeah, it
because of the
doesn't seem
bikini
like
photos.
when I reached out to them, there was no like tea, like no, there wasn't like a big cheating or like anything. It just seems like, yeah, maybe a fight that has gone too far. So
I
maybe we
wasn't the
can get them back on
nicest.
track.
Yeah, I wasn't the nicest to Shane when he was on the perfect match because he was a little strange to me. So,
Yeah.
I just say my honest thoughts. That's all I can do is say my honest thoughts and opinions and say
Hey,
what, everyone
Shane
else is
always
thinking.
keeps us talking, right? He always is talked about. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going on these shows and that's not your goal, then you're not doing it right. So I think I feel like he would be entertaining on another show, like Traders or something, but we'll see what happens. I
We'll
don't think they've
see.
had a Love is Blind person on Traders. They have on House
Mm,
of Villains and the other ones, but not Traders. I don't know why,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
he could be the first. But yeah, I think we could maybe get one of them on the pod to give
Okay.
us the scoop. Or
Yeah.
they'll be back. They're probably back together by the time we get off this pod, so we'll
That
see.
that
So
might be true. If that's something you guys would be interested in, let us know in the comments if you would, want to hear more about Shane's breakup and from
mhm.
him directly and, because I'm sure we could maybe get him on here to
Yeah.
to give us the tea. There was
And
also, oh, go ahead. Go ahead
Oh,
with
I was gonna
Julie.
say Julie, I love her because she does these like psychology breakdowns of these
Oh,
shows. She has like a YouTube. I forget what the YouTube is, but it's Julie Theis Thies or something. But she does like psychology breakdowns of the character or not characters, but the real people on these
mhm.
shows. So I would
Okay.
love to have her on our pod too because she has some good insights. So
Okay.
maybe both of them will come if they're back together. So we'll see.
Right. Yeah, that'll be fun. There was some more tea swirling this weekend as well between Madison and Molly.
Yes.
So a lot of my followers have been noticing that there's some type of riff or tiff between Madison, who was from Love is Blind season 8. She's the one who had the love triangle with Alex and Mason.
Mason.
Right. And
Mm.
the edgy blonde who dyed her hair pink. So a lot of people have been noticing that like a lot of the cast don't follow her. Like when they post group pictures, they'll like cover her face. So I've been getting
Yeah.
messages like, "Oh, can you find out what happened and why none of the cast talks to Madison anymore?" And then I guess just recently Molly, which if you guys remember, that was Dave's other choice instead of Lauren. She was the redhead. Um, that Molly and Madison had some type of falling out. Molly's been like posting subliminals or something like that. So, um, there's something happened to where the cast is like anti Madison. I did ask a cast member, I won't say who, if they had any insight or they knew what was going on, and it was just like a simple like it's just girl drama, like nothing specific, like just like cattiness,
Yeah.
and everyone decided to drop her at the same time, which is, obviously hurtful or whatever.
Well, I did hear
Yeah.
that they think that Madison spilled the tea about Sarah and Joey, which we can say that Madison didn't tell us. So
Yeah.
I don't know if she told other people, but she wasn't our source. So I don't know if they're just using that as an excuse
Right.
because we saw yesterday they went on like a party bus, a bunch of them, and
Mm,
it's very obvious that Monica, Ben obviously are excluded because it's Sarah and Joey's crew, and
mm-hmm.
then Madison seems to have been lumped in with them as well now. So, and we know who was there.
Yeah. Alex. So
Yeah.
Alex was there, and I think it's just kind of insane that Madison is getting axed from the group, but Alex is not. Like, and
Mhm.
I'm always curious, like, what are people's outlook on, because there's no way that they didn't see it, right? And
Oh
again,
yeah.
the Alex story didn't blow up the way that I thought it would. It didn't blow up
No.
nearly as much as the Tyler story. A lot of outlets didn't pick it up or didn't want to touch it. I mean, I guess with good reason, the same reason that I almost didn't touch it, because it's just so sensitive and it's so wild and it's so
Hmm.
dark, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, I wonder if they just look at it and say it's not true, or we don't care, or
I think the biggest problem with that story is there's no face behind it. With Bri, put her face behind the Tyler thing, everyone was happy to report on it because ultimately it's coming back to her story and her accusing Tyler. And if something comes out that that wasn't true, it's on Bri. Same
mm,
with like when I did all the Trevor stuff. His girlfriend was willing, she put it on her own page as well. So I was
yeah,
happy to help her share her story because
right,
ultimately it was her story and she publicly said it. So it was
yeah,
not my fault for repeating her story. If she wants her
right,
story out, it's out. So
right,
with
true,
the girls with Alex, they didn't want to have their name behind it, which I
right,
totally respect and
right,
understand. But it
right.
just gives people that excuse to kind of be like, no, it could not be true. Maybe it's not true. Even though you saw hundreds and hundreds of things of proof and you went down to the little last detail and you knew it was
Yeah.
true. But
Yeah.
because someone's not really willing to stand behind it, the outlets get
Yeah.
scared, I think.
I think so too. And I think with his story, it's like the things that, like, you can't look at what is out there and at the very least say this is concerning, right? So
Hmm.
I just presented what I found. If you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, I have videos on it up on YouTube, up on TikTok, like on Instagram, take a look. But like the
Hmm.
stuff that you see, it's like, it's concerning. His speech,
Yeah.
what he's saying, his mindset is concerning. So, and again, I didn't make any implications. I just said what was there, you know? And
Hmm.
it's just like, how do you look at that and just be like, he's
Yeah.
totally normal, like, you know what I mean? Like he's just a friend or whatever. And then it's like, even we seen him get kind of caught up on the reunion of like talking about Mason behind his back, and then
Hmm.
sending Madison little messages talking about Mason, and then like denying it, trying to deny it, and when he was confronted. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, they can.
Yeah.
I'm not here to tell people who to be friends with, but I just think it's so bizarre that you guys are all mad at Madison for what? Like
Yeah.
for what? Like
To me, it's giving mad because she's going to be on Perfect Match. And, they're not really, none of them have another show coming.
let me
So,
actually read the message from, because I want to say that they said something along the lines of like they don't like her attitude. Oh, there's
uh-huh.
really no good reason. They can't really give a straight answer. Just don't like her personality, think she's dishonest and mean.
Hmm. I mean, that's fair. Like, if you don't want to be friends with someone, you don't. But they are being annoying about it online, like, posting cryptic things. And that's when it feels like they're using her for clout. Like, they want
Yeah,
us to talk about this fight. If you
right,
just genuinely don't want to be friends with someone anymore, then you just don't talk to them again. But
right.
they're posting about this fight. Even the Cassandra girl that like hooked up with Madison before or matched with her is doing it too. And it's just hard to not feel weird about it because then they're with Taylor and Daniel and Sarah and Joey on these little like Love is Blind adventures where it's like all about clout. So
Yeah.
yeah, it seems like they just kind of got rid of her to be in this other group.
Yeah.
But
Well, I do hope it like turns around for her. Like we do know that she's going to be a pretty big part of Perfect Match, and hopefully, I didn't find her personality on Love is Blind to be like mean girl. Like
no.
I didn't get that. I know some people did. I didn't. Like I was so confused by the Madison hate train. Like I really was.
Hmm.
Still confused about it. So hopefully she gets a better edit on Perfect Match.
You know who else was on the party bus? Mo. So that shows these people do not give an F about the way
Mm.
their friends have been treated because they're friends with B Dot as well, right? Or I
Mm.
thought they were. So
Yeah.
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 Who knows who was in charge of this guest list? I don't know,
I
but
don't know, but y'all need to redo it.
yeah.
Okay, so
Bring Madison in, Mo and Alex out. I mean, we don't know Mo, but if you that was in our previous podcast too. So we're
yeah,
talking about a lot of old tea, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's all relative because all of this broke this week. So I
Yeah.
think it's like, we're going to keep you guys up to date on what's current, and that's current. We had so much stuff. Like, so much
Mm.
stuff just happened this week that it was just crazy. Like, I'm like,
I know.
what the hell? Like, I'm like, okay, like, this Love is Blind. Like, when Love is Blind is trending, they're like, okay, we need to, like, get on it and, like, get our little
Yeah.
sprinkle of attention. So,
This happens every Love is Blind season. As soon as there's gonna be a new season, every other season knows that it's trending, and like so much stuff happens, and it becomes such an exhausting time. Like you said, you would just take a month off from your job because it was constant, all day, every day,
yeah,
something
but
going on.
it's also like the new season's not even coming out until October.
No,
So it's like, it's
they've
wild that,
they found a way to start it up in the off season.
yeah, I mean, I guess. So yeah, that was some tea for the week.
Yeah. So it's been a lot of tea today
Yeah,
in the Love
so
is
much
Blind
tea.
world. So any final thoughts on the tea today?
You know what? It was so much tea that I didn't even think about this when we were talking about AD and Olly, but we know that they met on The Perfect Match.
Yes.
And didn't The Perfect Match film like less than a year ago or something like that?
Yeah, it was very end of August, mostly September. So, and from what we've heard, they weren't good on the show. I don't know if they
Right.
end up at the end together, but it certainly wasn't like a love, like immediate like meeting, we're in love. It was bumpy.
Yeah, and
So,
I don't know why, I just have a gut feeling that they're gonna try and re-edit that to give them the best edit possible to make it look
mm,
like, better.
yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I think, I guess I didn't think of timelines, but like that's a little fast to like
Yeah.
you're engaged and pregnant within 8 months of knowing somebody.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a lot.
That's quick.
Obviously, we don't know when she got pregnant versus engaged, but it definitely is giving we're getting engaged because we're pregnant. So,
Yeah.
which my parents did, and they're still together. It's been
Right.
42 years for
I
them.
know.
So
I know that's right. I know that.
it
I mean,
happens, but
sometimes it happens quick. Like
yeah,
I
it doesn't
definitely get
mean
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean it's not right, but considering all the other factors, like it's a TV show and all this other stuff, it's just a lot going on for them in a very short span of time, like 9 months. So,
Mm.
and she's got this podcast now, which is successful and it's doing well. So I'm sad for her that I mean, you could be a mom and work, obviously it
Yeah. Look at
happens,
you.
but
Look at you.
yeah,
You got kids, and you be on this podcast, like working super hard. But to your point, the
babies are
pregnancy.
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my
Newborn.
youngest is 5. So it's like up until like when they're new, it's hard. It would be hard to do a podcast. So yeah, I don't know what their plan is. I would assume they're going to keep working in like the Netflix space. So maybe
Hmm.
Love is Blind UK hosts. Who knows?
Yeah. I hope he's not just trying to get a visa. No, I'm just playing.
Well, that's what shocked me
I'm
about
just
this interview.
kidding.
She said they're going to London, and I was like, what? Like, I thought he would be coming here for sure. So,
I think he's for sure coming here. I don't know. I don't know because I know people had very mixed opinions about Olly on his season of Love is Blind. I know some people
mhm.
thought, like, oh, he's playing in her face, like she's not his type. Like Olly, there was this whole narrative that Olly didn't like black women, which I don't know where people come up
No.
with that, because then he publicly came out and said like everybody that I've ever dated has actually been dark skinned woman. Like that's what I like. And people had their opinions about Olly, but me watching Love is Blind UK, I never had any negative opinions of Olly. I didn't think that
No.
he was like playing in Demi's face or that he didn't like her. Like I thought he genuinely liked her. But then I want to say that like Charlotte came out and said that he was broke. Like I
Yeah.
know a few people came out and basically said like he's not in a position to be married. Of
Hmm.
course things change. Hopefully he's in a better financial place, but I just know that when the news came out that they were dating, a lot of people were like, ugh, AD
Yeah.
always picks the rotten apple or whatever. And I was like, is Olly a
Yeah.
rotten apple? Like I thought it was, I don't
I
know. I
mean,
wouldn't date him, but I thought he was, anybody's better than her ex. But like, I
I was thinking that.
don't know. I
I'm
don't
like,
know.
after Clay, this is an upgrade, and I think they could build something really good together. So Hopefully they do. We'll see what
Yeah, and
happens.
hopefully Kinetic and Netflix keeps them working, the both of
Yeah.
them, so that they could raise their child.
Yeah, if they're going to London, I mean, yeah, they've got the Love is Blind UK now. So
Mm.
podcast, host,
I
something
do
along
think
that
that we
line.
will see AD hosting
Maybe they're getting their own
something.
show.
That's what it's giving to me,
Yeah.
is that like they have something in the cards for AD and Ollie. Like
Yeah.
I feel like AD and Ollie have become their poster child for perfect match. Like, oh, this show is real. Look, we have real love. So I do
Hmm.
think that after their failed Ashley and Tyler attempt
Yeah.
of being the I think I just connected the pieces in my mind right now. Like, I think Ashley and Tyler were supposed to be the next Tiffany and Brett, the black love story that everybody's been dying to see replicated.
Hmm.
That went to shit, clearly. And I think they realized they couldn't save Tyler's image after the Dear Future Wifey podcast, because he just kept fucking lying.
Hmm.
That they were like, they gave up on Tyler. They're still trying to save Ashley's image, but unless she fucking gets some humility and lets go of that ego, like, she's done. I think Ashley's
Yeah.
done. I don't think there's any saving her at this point. I think AD and Ollie are their new
Yeah.
black couple that they are just gonna put all their efforts and energies behind to, like,
Hmm. I
you
think that's
know,
the biggest
I think
issue
that's
with
what it is.
Ashley. I think anyone can have a scandal or whatever happen, but if they're likable, they can get over it. But the biggest problem with Ashley is
She's just not likable.
no. And even like when things were going well with her and Tyler, I don't think we really saw many sides to her. So we couldn't make that decision
Yeah.
about her yet.
Yeah.
But watching everything play out and now watching her on the podcast, I don't think she's likable. So
She's not likable.
it doesn't
Even in
even
my
matter.
reviews, when I look back at my reviews, even in the first week when people liked Ashley, I was like, she's boring. Like, she doesn't really say
Yeah.
much. She doesn't really open up much. I was like, she's boring. And people got in my ass about that. Like, isn't that boring? She's just, yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, you're right. She's not likable. She doesn't have that personality that really just captures a viewer. It's just kind of like, eh. But I think
Hmm.
that they pivoted to AD and Ashley. I mean, AD and Ollie. They needed a
Yeah.
new face. They needed a new, like, and I think that they're it. They're their poster child. So they're going to push
Hmm.
them in the most positive way possible. I wouldn't be surprised if we seen Ollie hosting something for their UK,
Yeah.
portion, and, or a show or something. Yeah.
Yeah, they must have a plan. So what is going to become of what's the reality podcast? Or maybe it's going to move to London. I don't know. We'll
I
see.
don't think she's going to London. I think she said that to, like, remain open, but I think, like, especially if she's bringing home the bacon, like,
Yeah.
you be where I be, like, not the other way around, like,
Yeah.
so
Maybe they didn't want to make it seem like outright he wanted the visa. So they're pretending they were going to go to London. And now it's like, oh, well, we have the baby in the podcast. So it just makes more sense.
yeah, for sure,
Mhm.
which sucks for his family, but that's
Yeah.
why you don't fall in love overseas.
Yes, I know, right? They do like Love is Blind in the same cities so that these people have a better chance at love. But look at these two are in different countries and different
Yeah.
continents, and they're
Yeah.
fine. So
Yeah,
it can happen.
well, congrats to them.
Yeah.
Cheers. Ting.
Yeah. Cheers.
Ting
Cheers.
to AD
We got
and
a
Ollie.
divorce, a breakup, and a baby. Big day. So
Big day. Big day. But yeah,
yes.
so that's all the Love is Blind tea that went on this week. We had to keep you guys updated, but stay tuned, because we do have our Secret Lives of Mormon Wives recap episode 5 through 10 coming up. If you watch that show, if you don't watch that show, watch that show. It's so good. There's so much
good.
tea there. Like, the ending was like, but I'm not going to get into that now, because just watch it. And then we also have our Sneaky Links recap coming on Tuesday for our Tuesday episode. So you guys don't want to miss that. Thank you for tuning into this special episode. And
Yes, thanks, guys.
watch the recaps next.
Yes. Okay,
Bye,
see you.
guys.
Bye.